Howdy, y'all. It's been a while since I've done something like this. I mostly wanted to focus on doing cartoons now, but I always planned on doing these speed draw essays if I ever had something interesting I wanted to talk about. Considering how much this certain issue has been living lint-free in my head, I think a little self-therapy would do me some good. I'd like to talk about my history of being a movie fan, and how it caused me much more stress than it really needed to. First things first, I had been watching movies since I was a kid. My mom got me as many Disney and Godzilla movies as she could find, and some little miscellaneous movies here and there. As I got to my teen years, I started to get more and more into movies, that is, movies outside of what I grew up with. I started watching more docs on TV talking about the best movies ever, and going to the video store more often to find the movies I heard of. And of course, that's when the collecting movies started. In case you haven't noticed, I spent a lot of time by myself. Eventually, I started watching movies with my close friend, and that's when I began to realize maybe movies were just a phase of mine that was slowly fizzling out. Let's back up a bit. In my big movie phase, I started to realize I was becoming a part of the whole movie circle jerk mentality. You've probably heard that term before, but if you haven't, from what I can gather, it's a hive mind of sharing the same opinions on movies, mostly the opinions of YouTube reviewers. Yeah, there was a time I used to copy the opinions of the Nostalgia Critic and Jeremy Jahns, judging movies based on what they said about them rather than watching them myself. Yeah, I didn't know any better, and not gonna lie, it did kind of affect my whole mentality. I noticed I was arguing with my close friend a lot more often. Nothing serious for the most part, just going back and forth about movies. We didn't always have the same opinions on movies or anything in general, as is common among human interaction, but for some reason, I felt I had to be right. And trust me, I didn't just parrot other people's opinions, I also formed my own opinions on things, and they were pretty strong. Looking back, I can't believe not once did I stop and say, it's just movies, why do I care so much? But you know, it dawned on me, I did care too much. I developed a mentality that movies were high art and needed to be preserved and defended, and bad movies had to be buried, cause how dare they be made? Ain't like a group of people do their best to make them. I'm way too nice for this anymore. Y'all probably remember my video about me being tired of angry reviewers, which I think I owe Your Movie Sucks an apology. Hey man, sorry for not understanding your content and assuming you get too angry at movies. After all, clearly ranting for 3 minutes about how they don't go to space in Space Jam: A New Legacy is something that had to be done. You know what you're talking about and I don't. My bad. They go to cyberspace, man. How did you not get that? Anyway, in that video, I really wasn't trying to go after anybody in particular. I was just saying how the overabundance of movie critics on the internet have made it to where it's hard to have different opinions on anything anymore without anybody giving you lip for daring to be an individual with your own thoughts. I get it, that's a really common thing whether internet reviewers existed or not, but can y'all at least see that reviewers with big fan bases have really swayed movie criticism their way? Just say anything nice about The Last Jedi and see how many DMs you get about it. Speaking of that, that was one of the biggest movies that caused me a lot of stress. I saw so many people crapping on it that I got curious to see what everyone hated. Keep in mind, I was a kid when Phantom Menace came out, and I was unaware of how much hate that movie got until much later. And by much later, I mean, geez, take a friggin' chill pill, Star Wars fans. So I checked out Last Jedi and thought it was awesome. I didn't get what everyone hated about it. So I asked my close friend and he told me and I immediately jumped on defense and got really worked up about it. I didn't once stop myself and ask, why am I getting so defensive about this? It's Star Wars. I don't even like Star Wars. I let all the hate get to me and eat at me when it really didn't need to. I felt like I was a soldier in a war. A movie war. And looking back, why did it become this way? Why are so many people so defensive and offensive when it comes to movies? What is it about them that makes us want to grab our guns and go to battle? Well, we're attached to what we love. It's pretty much an extension of who we are. I'm an animator, so I love cartoons and anime. I'm a very quiet and shy person, so my favorite colors are pink and purple. And I'm very gentle, so I love a lot of pop rock and 60s music. When we hear our favorite things getting insulted, I guess we feel we're being insulted. So we gotta defend what we love as if they're our friends being bullied. And I couldn't think of a bigger example of that happening to me than when Martin Scorsese said Marvel movies ain't cinema. Yeah, I was one of those people who didn't take kindly to what he said. Not because I'm a Marvel fanboy, because I am, but because I know just how hard it is to make movies. Okay, I don't know, I've never made one, but I've seen plenty of documentaries to know it ain't a cakewalk, no matter how big the budget is. Yeah, you can joke about how Marvel movies are manufactured and are easy to make, as they are made by the studio that's trying to own the whole movie industry, but dagnab, is it really fair to say that movies thousands of people work their butts off to make ain't cinema? Not to mention the flat-out fact that he never even watched any of them, despite writing a whole article explaining how they have no emotional or artistic backbone. Freaking kids were crying when Spider-Man got blooped in Infinity War, man. Would it kill you to watch a few before judging them? I just didn't think that that was fair, especially since I got flack in my ranting days for complaining about stuff I didn't watch. Shouldn't that be a requirement? Actually watching something before you form an opinion on it? Why were so many people defending him? If it was somebody like me, you would have rightfully put me through the ringer. I guess I didn't earn it because I'm not making the same Robert De Niro movie over and over again. Okay, that's not fair. He has a lot more variety in his movies, but still, I'd rather watch Captain Marvel on repeat than ever sit through Silence or The Irishman in one sitting. What? Marty can judge movies without watching them, why can't I? Point is, it seems after Marty said what he said, more and more film bros started to parrot his thoughts. It got very annoying very quickly. Like, having opinions is one thing, but don't act like it didn't start a trend of more and more people doing it. Which is weird. It wasn't an issue before, but then all of a sudden, the director of friggin' Kundun says that they ain't cinema, then all of a sudden, everybody agreed. Heck, some even went further and said 99% of movies now sucked, because of franchise movies, which clearly are a new thing, I guess. I just think movie critics have become a little more snooty. I get it, critics have always been snooty. That's why internet reviewers were a breath of fresh air. They were people like you and me who were just giving their opinions on things. But then YouTube monetization became a thing, and now all of a sudden, almost every big reviewer on the internet sounds like the critics we got sick of in the first place. And now they have fan bases behind them that make it all the more hard to get through. Point is, it's getting a little tiring seeing the movies I love get put down by people by saying they're lesser entertainment. That kind of talk puts into people's minds that the kind of entertainment you like is now a reflection of not just your personality, but your IQ. Why? And I had that thought before I came to that realization. Since I was a kid, I was always underestimated by some teachers I had in school. We had to read books, and I wasn't much of a reader, but I loved Goosebumps, so I started reading those just to get my reading requirement finished. I soon found out that those books were looked down upon by some teachers as not novels, they were just kid stuff. Remind you of somebody? And that really bothered me. You wanted me to read, I'm doing what you asked, make up your mind. I'm too stupid and bored to understand Hemingway, just let me enjoy my cheesy Twilight Zone for Kids stories. So seeing all these movie reviewers talk down on me brings me back to bad memories of me feeling like a moron because I was never one to understand deep and meaningful stories. I'm sorry, everyone. Sorry I can't understand all the artistic mastery of movies like Taxi Driver. I've seen that movie 2.5 times and I still don't get it. Why do so many people call that a freaking masterpiece? That's another thing. I found myself wanting to watch more art movies in order to be taken more seriously. Even if I didn't like these movies that people call masterpieces, I pretended I did. I don't know, I thought the appeal of these movies was people don't really like them and that they just act like they do so they don't get called morons either. Don't take that the wrong way, I get people can like a lot of these kind of movies, but I can't. I need more than just Nolan confusing me with his overthinking of movie plots, or Marty showing people losing their mind, or Dennis Villa, whatever the hell his name is, showing us a realistic approach of aliens landing on Earth. 'Cause yeah, that's what we watch movies for, right? To see how things are done realistically? When did that become an automatic excuse for praise? Isn't the point of art to exaggerate real life instead of showing what life is like? I don't want to see what life is like. That depresses me. If I want to be depressed, I would go on r/politics. I'm a simple man, dang it. My ideal Sunday morning is just throwing out some seed and peanuts and watching the birds and squirrels while I eat breakfast. I get more out of that than any movie Marty ever made. Yes, even Hugo, the one I actually liked. Don't ask me to tell you what happens in it though, I forgot. I found myself forgetting a lot of the movies I watched. Albeit, most of it is my fault because they couldn't hold my attention, but also, I really did try to watch some art movies to diversify my movie taste, but I just couldn't take it anymore. I would even torture myself watching the boring movies my close friend would show me and get really mad at myself for not liking them. I would even ask him to show them to me again because I couldn't let that slide. I had to like these movies. I didn't want to be an idiot who's entertained by car chases and monsters destroying cities. I had a boomer on a cartoon forum give me a lot of flack because I said Some Like It Hot bored me. Well, when the AFI says it's a better comedy than Duck Soup, sorry if I expect it to live up to that reputation. Oh, best comedy doesn't mean funniest? Then what the heck is the point of it being a comedy movie if it doesn't make you laugh as much as others? I don't get film criticism anymore. Who am I kidding? I never did. So yeah, I was trying really hard to like movies that I didn't like, to look smart and feel validated. But it gets to the point where you realize you ain't being true to yourself, and in turn, you become something you're not. You lash out when you don't need to because you're holding so much emotion back that you ain't talking to the people who can help you and let you know it's okay to be who you are. Add on to the fact I've never been good at telling people my feelings cause I didn't want to look weak. And you got a recipe for someone who has a lot of insecurities. I should probably see a therapist. Got a little sidetracked, but many hours spent watching movie masterpieces, buying movies I never ended up watching and giving them away, and bad thoughts about movies that I spent way too much time letting bother me later. I came to the conclusion, screw it. I love animated movies, monster movies, and yes, even superhero movies. Those are the movies I bother to invest in nowadays. Don't mean I still ain't gonna watch other movies, mostly with my friends, but that's all it's gonna be now. Watching movies with my friends. I guess I got more into movies back then because I really didn't have a lot of friends to spend time with. Now that I do, watching movies by myself is no longer a luxury, it's a chore. It's so rare nowadays I put a movie on that I pay attention to from start to finish. Wanna know the movie that inspired me to do this video? Logan. Yeah, a movie I wanted to watch since it came out but never did. Then I heard so many people praise it to high heaven, I was afraid to see it. Comic book movies that get that much praise are ones that tend to not give me a whole lot to like. But I needed something to kill some time and it was on Hulu, so I watched it and it was fine. Yeah, it was fine. Want to watch it again? Probably not, but for 2 hours, yeah, it could have been worse. Could have watched something I'm more into, but whatever, it was fine. It's clear to me movies were more of a phase for me when I had more free time on my hands. Now, with all the stuff I have on my plate, they've just become a once-in-a-while thing. By myself, at least. Watch with my friends? Heck yeah. At the end of the day, I realize it's more fun just being with friends than trying to see movies as masterpieces. Heck, it's that kind of mentality where I found myself enjoying movies with friends that the critics consider garbage. You really do appreciate how great Cat in the Hat and Son of the Mask are when you watch them with friends. The amount of joy and good times those movies can bring you, that's the kind of memories that stick with you. I might forget all the symbolism and subtext of what The Godfather is saying, but dagnab, I'll never forget all the joy and laughter I had watching movies like Spy Kids 3D with my buddies. I don't even like Spy Kids, but if my bros ask me if I want to watch it with them, I say, what time? I think that says a lot about me as a person. For the most part, I don't think the problem was feeling stupid that I didn't get movies, or I had to hate the movies critics hate. The problem was, I was trying too hard to see everything as a masterpiece and getting mad when I didn't. When at the end of the day, I should have just been enjoying spending time with friends. God bless my close friend who was the first one I watched movies with. I don't blame him for any of this. I just never knew how I was supposed to do this thing. Now I do. I guess that's why movies almost broke me. 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 I guess that's w I took them too seriously because I felt everyone else takes them too seriously. Which ain't a bad thing. We all have our passions. Just dag-nab, not everyone has to watch Prism. Not everyone has to say Christopher Nolan is a genius filmmaker. Not everyone has to like Joker. For a lot of people, movies can just be fun little events where you sit down with your friends and have a good time for a couple of hours. Maybe even shorter than that. This video could probably have gone on longer as I have a lot to say about this topic in general, like how every movie is way too long nowadays, how Rotten Tomatoes has really affected how we judge movies now. I can't for the life of me talk about a movie for 2 minutes, especially a movie I love because I'm not that much of an analyzer. And I could do a whole essay itself on how I don't get why it's so hard for filmmakers to get Batman. He's a billionaire who dresses up as a bat and fights villains that include a college professor dressed as a scarecrow and an actor who's a giant hunk of clay. Why does it have to be so complicated? But I think I got the main issues out of the way. I think this topic got me thinking so hard about it because I'm a visual person. Most of my love of movies comes from how much I have fun just looking at them. That's probably why most of my favorite movies are ones with stuff that's just fun to watch. Action movies, special effects movies, superheroes, film noir, and animated ones. When I first saw Matrix, it was put in my head that I had to see it as a masterpiece. Something that the critics want to put on the wall of great movies. And you know me, that's the kind of movie that I don't get. So of course, I didn't get it. I even gave it a lot of crap for being a convoluted ripoff of Ghost in the Shell. Then I read the Wachowski sisters just wanted to make a live-action anime. Then it dawned on me that looking at it that way made me enjoy it. When I like things my way, I actually end up liking them when I'm not told how to feel about them. Who knew? At the end of the day, I've come to peace with who I am and what I like. Movies are fine and all, but I'm more of a cartoon and anime guy. After all, I cried like a baby watching Hilda. That left a bigger impact on me than anything Marty ever made. Yes, I picked on Marty a lot in this video, don't worry, I got nothing against him. Just tired of the whole snooty attitude concerning the kind of movies I like is all. No, superhero movies didn't ruin cinema. Netflix did. Point is, I am who I am. Y'all are who y'all are. We can like and dislike whatever we want. It's just movies at the end of the day. That's all they are. No reason to go to war over them. Lay down your guns and just enjoy what you like. And as always, stay loony, my toonies.